as much as other, not as much as other ways to produce energy, and the heating of water causes environmental problems.
So basically you're saying that the biggest problem of nuclear power plant is that a couple of tracks by building a power plant are going and they are emitting emissions. And the second, that you didn't answer about the producing of energy and emitting the emissions.
We're going to go through that through our arguments, so please do wait for that. I would like to preview the arguments we're going to go through. First of all, I'm going to present two arguments that our nuclear energy is dangerous technology, as well as it is very expensive. The second speaker from the opposition is going to talk about nuclear energy not being effective, as well as justice. Concerning our first argument, nuclear energy is dangerous technology. Well, in fact, it is. First, because it has radioactive waste. As some of you might know and others don't, we would like to clarify that during the operation of nuclear power plants, and as we already mentioned, radioactive waste is produced, which in turn can be used for the production of nuclear weapons. At the same time, the know-how of to design nuclear power plants can, to a certain extent, be used to build nuclear weapons and nuclear proliferation. Thank you. The volume of waste is growing by 5% annually. The second point in this argument is the mining of uranium has hazards. Many studies so far have proved the impacts on health that the miners of uranium are having. For example, fertility problems in Judagadu in India. After 30 years of uranium mining, 30% of the women miners have fertility problems, spontaneous abortions, as well as most of the children die at 3 weeks. There's a high risk of failure. Despite a generally high security standard, accidents can still happen. It is technically impossible to build a plant with 100% security. A small probability of failure will always last. As consequences of any accident would absolutely be devastating, both for human beings as well as for the nature.
Point.
We can mention Chernobyl disaster, Chernobyl disaster that we all know, and we know the consequences that had. The huge numbers of deaths as well as diseases that we still have till so far, cancer as well as many other problems. And we can even mention that it was only a power plant that was turned into an atomic bomb that caused all this problem. We can mention too under this argument that it is a dangerous technology, the terrorist diversion on the plants. The proliferation of civilian nuclear power may result in terrorist disasters. Even if we improve the technical safety of a plant, there will always still be criminal factors that will be interfering. No atomic energy plant in the world could withstand an attack similar to 9/11, for example, in New York. Such a terrorist act would have a catastrophic effect on the whole world. As a second argument, I would like to discuss that nuclear energy is expensive. Nuclear lobbyists should also... Okay, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to be the second proposition speaker. And first of all, I would like to quote Albert Einstein, who said, "If we succeed in using nuclear energy for peaceful purposes, it will open the way to a new paradise." So, dear ladies and gentlemen, how can we disagree with this great scientist? I would like to start with the rebuilding of our case. First of all, our opponents have agreed with the problem that now there are too much CO2 emissions, and so we need to reduce them. Okay, what concerns our arguments? Our first argument was about that nuclear plants, they do not make any emissions. What our opponents have said? They have said that we need water and it will create a huge ecological problem. But dear ladies and gentlemen, we do not need so much water. We do not need all water resources from the world for operating our nuclear plants. We need just a few tons of water and they will circulate in the plant, and so there is not much damage. Actually, we use much more water in our chemical plants, so where is the danger here? They also have said that even though the nuclear plant produces less than 1/100 of the emissions of coal plants, they said that still there will be emissions during the building of the plant. But dear ladies and gentlemen, there are a few tracks that will go to build this nuclear plant, so it is just a tiny number of these emissions. Actually, I would like to point your attention to this fact that they did not attack our second argument that was about efficiency. And here we have said that actually we need, first of all, very little fuel for operating a nuclear power plant. Secondly, they are very effective. And actually now we are going to build a nuclear plant in Belarus, and it will cover up to 20% of our needs. One plant, 20% of electricity needs. So you see. Okay, now I'd like to come to the arguments our opponents proposed. Their first argument is about danger. They have said about the problems with waste. But dear ladies and gentlemen, actually now there is such a technology that allows to recycle waste so that 95% of the waste may become a new fuel for the next operation plate. Yes.
What about the remaining 5%?
5%? Okay, I will answer this question. Thank you. Actually, I would like to point your attention that we do not need tons of uranium for operating a nuclear plant. We need just a few grams for a nuclear plant to operate it for months. So you mean, you can see that 5% from a few grams is such a tiny number, so it's really not a problem.
DOI?
No, thank you. They have also said about nuclear bombs. But dear ladies and gentlemen, this argument is absurd. Because we have nuclear bombs now, and they appeared not because we use nuclear energy. They appeared because they have been already and they are now, and we are not worsening the problem. And moreover, dear ladies and gentlemen, we do not produce nuclear bombs from waste. They produce in special laboratories with help of different technologies, not from waste, of course. They have also given us an example with India. They have given us only one example when one village suffered from money. It is one example all over the world. And at the same time, 3 million people die every year from pollution, from coal plants. You can see. No, thank you. And moreover, coal plants, they are worsening the problem of global climate change. And as you all know, that people are also suffering from global climate change. Their homes are flooded, they suffer from droughts, no harvest. So you can see that this is one tiny example, and actually we could not take it into intention. One more point our opponents have said is about accidents. Dear ladies and gentlemen, there has been one major accident during the history of nuclear plants. It was a Chernobyl accident. And why it has happened? No, thank you. It has happened because of a human's mistake. Actually, the scientists, they decided to carry out an experiment. And it was an experiment, and when the safety system shows that it is danger, they still do not pay attention to the safety system. No, thank you. And carried out the experiment. So it was a human's mistake, first of all. And secondly, it was an old kind of reactor. We do not use these reactors now. So you can see that there is no danger. Yes, please.
If you're saying that it's a human mistake, you think humans don't make mistakes anymore?
Okay, thank you for your question. First of all, I would like to point to your attention that it was an old kind of reactor. Now the reactors have such a safety system that will not listen to people. If there is danger, it will just close and do not allow any actions from the humans. And now, no, thank you. Now I would like to present you our opponents have also an argument about expensiveness.